Hey y'all, I don't have enough content or energy in me to film a drama video, so instead I've been like collecting little Quora gems because it's fun and everyone's homophobic or racist. I'll just go through them. I've collected quite a few, and quite a few of them are very long. Well, I don't actually remember if they're long, I'm looking at them right now and they seem long. But a lot of these are just like bigoted, and I found them really funny, so. But the first one says, if you had to be stuck on an island with either a lesbian, a vegan, an atheist, or a transgender person, which would it be and why? And Greg Reed said, assuming the transgender person is a woman pretending to be a man, then the transgender person. She would be someone to have sex with. If not, then the lesbian. She'll eventually revert back to normal and have sex with me. And for the question, I lead two separate lives. I'm gay, but I have to hide it from my family. I have no way out. How do I get myself out of this oppressed lifestyle? He responded, just choose to be straight. It's a choice, ain't it? If you are in a place with only male and female restrooms, what restroom would a non-binary person go in? You would go into the bathroom that matched your real gender, male or female, rather than your pretend gender. I just think this is really funny. I have more from him. There's like a whole thing. I found this on like a homophobe catcher kind of thing on Quora, like a group, and they kind of just post random ass shit. A lot of it is just people being really bigoted, but in like very funny ways. Like, to be completely honest, I don't think a lesbian, if they did happen to revert back to normal, I don't think a straight girl would ever have sex with you either way. Why do some people think maths is racist? And Greg Reed says, because white people are better at maths than minorities, so they're trying to come up with a way to dumb it down so that all the races are equally bad at it. So Greg here has admitted to being an absolute genius, an absolute mathematician. If that was the case, I don't know why he had to go serve in the army instead of like finding a new theorem or some shit like that, but you know what? Good for him. He's really thriving. Ignoring the facts, ignoring the statistics, which is a branch of maths, which he claims to be very good at, ignoring the stereotype that I don't fit into. Sure, you know what, maybe white people are the best. This is in a comment section which somebody said, from the photo and what you said, you are lesbian. The person says, yes. And they said, I think you should go to a doctor because you are a psychopath, with all my respect. I am sure that you will say, this is my life, I do what I want, we need freedom, etc. But trust me, when you will go to a doctor, and you will stay with him later, you will thank me. And she responded, what the hell is wrong with you? His grammar, first of all.
But trust me, when you will go to a doctor and you will stay with him later, you will thank me.
And you know what? I stand by that. Alex said, I smell a transphobe. Stinky. And Jack the transphobe says, we aren't transphobes. Your statement sounds highly superphobic. The fact, is that still a thing? Are y'all still super straight? If so, how's it feel to get no bitches? And then Alex, like the absolute queen they are, says, cause I am superphobic, LMAO. Y'all shit is dumb, and you think that trans women aren't real women, and same for trans men. There's nothing wrong with having a genital preference, but when you say that trans people aren't valid and aren't who they say they are, that's when us LGBTQ members get mad. Matt Williams says, male isn't something you can identify as, but boy is. Let's keep our terms straight here. Male refers to sex. That isn't something you choose or express or identify. Boy refers to gender, which is an expression and something you choose to identify yourself as. And Colin says, boy is a young male human. And Gideon says, no it isn't. A real boy is a physical boy. Juliet says, a physical boy is anyone who identifies as male. They are physically here and they identify as a boy. That's a physical boy. And Gideon says, no. They are not a real boy. They are not a physical male. You cannot feel that you are a boy. I love the confidence that transphobes have. They really enter a conversation thinking that they're correct. Victoria says, I do think non-binary people are considered trans. Trans means anyone whose gender is not the same as the gender they were assigned at birth. So non-binary people fit that description. And Jake Braithwater says, lol, this answer is literally gender ideology is starting to confuse itself. And Riley, like the absolute queen that they are, says, lol, this transphobe is literally, I'm too dumb to understand gender. And did they lie?
Did they lie?
A quick little lesson for y'all. There aren't even two sexes, so there can't be two genders. But let's say there were, they're still not the same thing. Gender is a spectrum, and the only reason that y'all think that there are only two of them is because of colonization. So many different cultures acknowledged that there were different ways of like acknowledging or identifying gender until the white man came and decided that he would slaughter everyone and tell the rest of them that no there isn't, there's only two. That white man was wrong, and it's a spectrum. The fact that you can't understand that is really on you, babes. Jennifer Black says, not to invalidate anyone, but are all these labels really necessary? Who can possibly keep up with all of this? Robin says, exactly, enough already. It's about as bad as trying to remember all of our passwords. And Felix says, it's necessary so those people can define or easily explain how they feel. You don't have to keep up with it, but it helps them to understand how they feel, and that's what matters. Which I feel like is a pretty nice statement. I don't think anyone's going to be offended that you don't know what they are. They're just going to be offended if you don't respect that and if you don't, like, accept them, which would apply if you did know what it means. If you did know what it means and you still didn't accept them, if you did know what it means and you didn't respect that, then they'd still be mad. Riley says, I seriously wonder if he has been karyotyped. If he hasn't and he doesn't know his chromosomes, then he might not be a real boy by his own definition. For those of you who haven't suffered through biology yet, a karyotype is the structure of someone's chromosomes, and the word also means taking a DNA test to find out what chromosomes you have, which is what I mean. And they share a screenshot of Fred saying, nope, a real boy has XY chromosomes, the science doesn't lie. Go back to believing the lies by that pedo John Money. And Riley says, XY chromosomes doesn't mean much. You might not even have XY chromosomes. Have you been karyotyped? There was the question, why do gay people get offended when one says being gay is a choice? I'm not saying being gay is bad, but this makes no sense. I don't think I've screenshotted any answers. Maybe there were no answers, I have no fucking clue. But it's because it's not, and you're saying that they are choosing to be oppressed, which is more of like a straight white man kind of vibe, because gay people aren't choosing to be oppressed. Oppressed people don't want to be oppressed. It's just the privileged people that want to be oppressed. They're probably getting offended because you're wrong and you're so adamant that you're right, but they've heard this bullshit so many times before, especially when it's connected to something negative. Like being gay is a choice and being gay is a sin, and therefore you must convert back to normal. And gay people are quite frankly sick of it. I don't know what kind of confidence you gained from this. I don't know why you are so, like, certain that you are correct to say that it makes no sense, why people get offended, because, like, it's because, like, you're wrong. Like, it doesn't matter if it makes sense or not. You're wrong. Just change. Stop saying it's choice because you're wrong.
Also, another point, I think it's really funny because, like, conservatives and, like, just, like, oppressors, they will constantly get mad over, like, dumbass shit. They'll get mad over the fact that there are more than two genders and that gender is a spectrum. They'll get mad at the fact that gay people exist and exist without choosing to exist that way. They'll get mad over all the stupid bullshit that doesn't affect them, and that's just perfectly fine. Like, we've all just, like, accepted it. But as soon as gay people get mad over somebody continuing to spell bullshit that has been used to oppress them for so long, then their anger makes no sense. Their anger over something that is directed at them and towards them doesn't make sense. But we've all just accepted, like, oh yeah, transphobes are mad because trans people exist. Or yeah, homophobes are mad because homosexual people exist. Just, what the fuck do you mean? It makes no sense. No, you make no sense. Like, you're wrong. If you want things to make sense in your stupid fucking head, maybe do some research. Maybe go on Google and check for yourself. Maybe use the 2 brain cells that you have in that limited little smooth ass brain in that little noggin up there.
So Michelle says, who knows, but definitely do not make this seem okay or normal. Men wear men's clothes, period. If he needs counseling or help to be a man, then find him those resources. But under no circumstances should you go buy him girls' underwear or encourage this behavior. This is Satan trying to worm his way into your home. Keep him out. Do not allow this sin to fester and grow in your home. It's only going to lead the other kids and even adults down a sin-filled path that will destroy a family. The mum will become the dad, and the home will topple in sin and lustful desires. Be very careful in how you deal with this.
Why does my husband like wearing girls' underwear or some shit like that?
You know what? The confidence. It's giving me confidence. I really think Michelle knows exactly what she's talking about, and therefore Satan is in your home because of female underwear. And that's just on period. My daughter has a... Oh my god, I remember this. There are no answers. It's just funny. My daughter has a gay friend. I am not homophobic, but I am afraid that he might transmit gay viruses like AIDS to my daughter. Can anyone share some ways through which I can protect my daughter from gay diseases? I'm so sorry to tell you this, but she is already... she's got AIDS. The only way you can fix this is by... You can't. I apologize, but I know it's difficult, but sometimes you just get airborne gay viruses like AIDS, you know? Sometimes these things happen and you really just have to move on. Recently, I was called a transphobic bigot when I informed someone that I really don't care about trans people doing what they want. I said I have no opinion either way and to let them do what they want. Why is this bad? And Rosalind Lee, I think, kind of said it perfectly, saying, speaking as a trans woman, it feels to me like you were trying to present your non-position as a form of benign acceptance. You present yourself as a middle of the road, live and let live type of person, but you also state that you have no opinion. There's a large gulf between live and let live on one side and no opinion on the other. Live and let live is an opinion. No opinion is, well, no opinion, and no opinion is not the same as benign acceptance. In my experience, having no opinion always means one of two things. 1, you haven't yet had the opportunity to fully develop an opinion, or 2, you really don't give a damn. The whole thing is just that uninteresting to you. My gut and your phrasing strongly suggests the latter. You honestly don't care and you're fine with telling someone who does care that you don't. Would you tell a member of MADD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, that you have no opinion on people driving drunk and we should just let them do what they want? Would you tell a woman whose niece was killed at Sandy Hook that you really don't care one way or the other about gun control, and if somebody wanted to carry guns in a school, we should just let them do what they want? If somebody you know is suffering from crippling levels of anxiety, has attempted suicide in the past, and tells you they're afraid because they see no hope for any future for themselves that's worth living, would you tell them that you really don't care one way or the other and they should just do what they want? If you did happen to ever do any of these, or uncountable other examples, would you be baffled if their opinion of you was less than glowing? Finally, and again speaking as a trans woman, I take issue with you framing my medical needs as something that I kind of think that maybe I want to do, as if my treatments were on the same level as getting a tattoo. You say it twice in the space of 3 sentences, so I'm pretty sure it's reflective of your true feelings on the matter. I do desperately want the positive benefits I receive from my medications and treatments. These things are not my hobbies. In and of themselves, they are not sources of personal joy. I want my treatments in the same way that plain old regular Americans want cholesterol medication or insulin or eyeglasses or orthopedic shoes or ibuprofen or an ingrown toenail treated or this or that or the other. It really doesn't help bolster your position that in no way should I think of you as being transphobic if you freely and proudly tell me that you're fine with me doing whatever icky, kicky little trans thing floats my boat. You know, like living authentically. I consider that level of dismissal of an entire group to fall under the definition of phobic, which includes experience a strong aversion or disinclination towards something. I don't know if y'all feel the same way, but I personally think that was beautifully worded. And it applies to many other things. You can't be no opinion on many things that are prevalent in today's issue, like, you know, everyday life, and claim that that's like, okay. If somebody calls me a chink and you brush it off, we're no longer friends. The question was, I think I'm transgender, but I've heard a lot of kids regret transitioning. How can I be as sure as possible that I am trans? And John Gray says, you can't change your gender. If you have a dick, you're a boy. If you have a vagina, you're a girl. If you have both, you're an abomination created by Satan. The Lord thy God, currently in the form of Donald John Trump, created only 2 genders, male and female. And then they quote a Bible verse, which says, so God created man in his own image. The image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. Yeah, girl, he said what he said. If you're intersex, you're an abomination created by Satan, and Donald J. Trump is in fact the Lord Jesus Christ. And you cannot convince me otherwise. But I want to take a step back from this. First of all, not a lot of kids regret transitioning. The people who do regret transitioning gets a lot of media kind of coverage because transphobes love that shit. They want to eat that shit up like booties, like groceries. It's kind of like a fuck you to trans people. Like, look, this shows that you guys aren't real. It shows that you don't actually know what you want. It shows that you are faking it for attention. It shows that you are actually supposed to be the gender that you were assigned at birth. Less than 1% of trans people end up detransitioning. And like a large portion of that, I'm pretty sure it's over half of that, is because they're in an unsafe environment to be trans. John Gray comes back again, answering the question, what is the biggest thing wrong with CPS with, they stole my kids from me. CPS claimed that I was unfit for being a parent because I'm a racist, homophobe, and child abuser. I'm a homophobe and a racist, but I ain't no child abuser. I treat my kids like fucking gold, unless they're gay. 5 CPS workers came to my house today without a warrant. They called the police when I said that they couldn't come in. The police pulled a gun on me while the CPS people broke my computers, made a massive mess, and stole my kids. We're now in 1984. It has begun. Big Brother is watching. It's a communist takeover. We don't have freedom of speech anymore. Life as we know it has come to an end. Hug your kids. It might be the last time you do. So there was... that's something that may or may not have happened. But you know what? Good for the kids. Also, just a question. How are you going to be a waiter and be a complete capitalist? Like, that really... If 2 + 2 is 4, don't you hate your job? I'm pretty sure he does, because I've seen something about him, like, complaining about, like, dealing with his libtard boss or some shit. You wouldn't have a libtard boss if it was an actual communist takeover. John Kingston said, personally, I would tell him I would always be there for him if he really needs help, but I wouldn't be able to support him in transitioning in gender. This is clearly a question about transition, like helping somebody transition or, like, helping being there for them or whatever the fuck. I would then probably reduce contact with him to a minimum. Reason, I don't believe transgender surgery or hormones are a good solution to what is essentially a mental condition. I shall turn off comments for this post before anyone fulminates against me or calls me rude names. However, please note that a bigot is defined in the dictionary as somebody who obstinately refuses to listen to an alternate point of view. So if you think my answer should not be allowed to be published, it is you who is the bigot, not me. Says the person who turned off comments. You're not going to let anyone, like, debate with you or argue with you. I'm so oily. Anyway, you're not going to let anyone debate or argue with you or try and reason with you or educate you, but we're the bigots. These are the people that we're putting in universities, by the way. These are the people who are educating people. They are professors. Video quality bad, but I'm fucking tired, so I'm done. I was gonna pause it and then go eat food and then come back, but no, I'm done. I'll do the rest of them the other day.